Welcome back to another Racexotics podcast. Today we're sitting in this amazing Saleen S7 with the man himself, Mr. Saleen. I appreciate you coming on and chatting with us.
Yeah, Scott, it's my pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So this car right here, I guess we could start with this. What was the inspiration for this? I remember when I was a kid, it was in the movie with Jim Carrey.
Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty.
Yes.
I parted the cars in this thing.
Yeah, it's actually since that we have a saying around our shop, and that is that in the movie Jim Carrey trades places with the Almighty.
Okay.
And he has a beat up Nissan, and he comes out and goes, "That's not going to work." So he quickly changes it into a Saleen S7, and we then have adopted a saying that the Pope, being from Italy, the Pope may drive a Ferrari, but God drives an S7. So
that's pretty good.
we feel that you aren't going to get any better than that.
Yeah. No, what a cool car, and it's so iconic. Me growing up when I was younger, this was like the hot car. I mean, it was breaking records and everything. It was like 256 miles an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, we never really finished doing the top speed. It just got into a very high numbers at the time, and but it's obviously been really one of the most successful cars that I think from a supercar standpoint, especially if you look at its racing pedigree. The race version has won at every major racetrack in the world with no exception.
Really?
And I'm talking from Shanghai, China, Mount Fuji, Japan, Laguna Seca, Daytona, Sebring, Watkins Glen, New York, Silverstone, England, Barcelona, Spain, Imola, Italy, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Bahrain, Nürburgring, and we finally won 24 hours of Le Mans, all done by privateers. And we actually have more race wins during that period of time than Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren combined. So to say that its racing pedigree has been exceptional.
Yeah, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I've always felt like these cars were out of my price range, so I don't know a ton about them, to be completely honest with you. They're beautiful. I've always thought they were very neat. And being a Ford guy, because these have kind of a Ford-inspired power plant, correct?
Well, yes and no. In the respect, there's some misconceptions there, is that we designed the whole vehicle, including the drivetrain. And when we did the drivetrain, we actually did a 4Runner here in the late 90s, 98 and 99, where we were running a smaller block Ford 351 engine, and that we used that as the basis for the development for the powertrain for this. This is actually our own casting. We paid to have a new casting at 7 liters, which is where the name comes from, and that's 427 cubic inch in American speak. But we did a solid piece of aluminum billet for the heads, so we had those milled.
Wow.
And all the internals. We redesigned a new FIAD, the front engine accessory drive, for the engine as well, and all the engines are dry sump, obviously, for the cornering and the rigors of what the G-loads that can be put on the car. And then that was basically, if you will, how we went about actually designing the engine. And we knew that one of the bases that gave us over our European counterparts was the fact that the amount of horsepower that you can get out of the American style V8 engine was critical. But if you really look at how small of a package that is, the ability for us to put this lower, more in the center of it, really gave us a advantage overall on the European counterparts. And on the racetrack, with the balance and everything, that actually proved to be very, very dominant.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that was your own engine. I always kind of wondered about that.
Yeah, so over the years, it's kind of morphed into where instead of going through our special aluminum block, it was easier just to refit the basic Ford block with it.
So they are compatible.
It is compatible, and the transmission has the mounting that it will hook up depending on the clutch system.
Which I guess is probably good if something were to happen to one of your engines.
Yeah, it makes it easier on repair and all of that. Those were some of the things that when we came out with it, it also had why we went to a 3140 chromoly with a honeycomb instead of doing a carbon fiber tub is that has the ability to have it repaired rather than throwing the car away.
Right.
And we felt that from a serviceability and longevity that was probably a better way to go.
Yeah. Well, and they just, I noticed that, I saw that with the Bugatti just recently. It was in a little fender bender, but it damaged part of the carbon fiber monocoque, and they totaled the car. Bugatti said, we're done.
Yeah, you're throwing it away.
Throwing the whole entire,
yeah.
it's like $5 million car down the drain because there's a little crack in the carbon fiber.
The practicality of an S7 is unbelievable just from a standpoint.
And I love that about kind of the American cars. I mean, it feels like a lot of them are similar in that respect. I mean, even like the Tuatars, well, I guess they're carbon fiber. But from the usability and the repairability of it, seems easier than some of the European counterparts like Koenigsegg and Pagani and Bugatti and all these cars that, I mean, I would be afraid to even look at under the hood.
Yeah, they get, obviously they're not inexpensive cars, and any repair or any serviceability is going to be more expensive than your Toyota Camry.
Definitely.
Okay, but at the same time, I think what we've done with the American is a little bit more, if we will just say, user-friendly in that respect.
Yeah. Yeah, so what inspired this car? What I originally knew Saleen via was like your Mustangs. Like I've been actually looking for a 1987 Saleen, the white with the blue accents, the Mustang.
Yes.
I've been looking everywhere for that spec. That's the only one I really want, is that. You made a black and gold one, right?
Yeah, we've done what we call our heritage colors today. Is we had red and gold, black and gold, and the white and blue.
Yeah, and the white and blue is my favorite. Yeah, I mean, I've been looking everywhere for a 1987 GT Fox body Saleen.
Especially the white wheels on it too, probably. Yeah. And so, I mean, our new one, we do it as well, and it is really a very stunning vehicle. Yeah. So that combination has not gone out of vogue.
Right. So what created the transition, or what inspired you to move from, because that's how you started it, right? Kind of dolling up the Mustangs?
Racing. Well, we started with, my background is in professional racing.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And so that's when I grew up, I wanted to be a professional racer, and that's what I pursued. The opportunity to do a special in the early 80s to help support that came, and so we were initially doing the Mustangs just to support my racing endeavors.
I see.
And the very similar to Ferrari, I guess, in that respect, and that's always been kind of the case. But so we continued to do that, and but the street version of it grew, and then that took us into becoming a manufacturer, and then having the ability to sell a new car off of a showroom required a certification, so the skill sets that we had to put in place for crash, occupant safety, tailpipe emissions, all of that had to be actually put in place. So that then made it to where we had modified the Mustang, and we had a racing version, which was the forerunner of this. We had in the American side through the mid 80s and into the 90s, we were really pretty dominant. We won a lot of championships with the Mustangs. And then as we got towards the tail end of the century, in the mid 90s to 1999, as we started expanding our footprint over in Europe, we took our Mustangs over in Europe. And there, we were not as competitive against the European models. And I realized that when we were at Silverstone, England, at a track, and I'm in the Mustang, and I have all these other supercars around me, I realized the architecture of the Mustang is not really going to cut it on being able to be competitive. So we came back after basically the campaigns through 97, 98, and 99, and we did win the championship with our wide body in 1999, but we realized that if we wanted to be serious about more of a global, that we would have to really design our own car. So we went to work at the tail end of 99, and by the time we got to Pebble Beach time frame, we had designed the Saleen S7. It only took us 9 months to actually show it, and we knew that that was the street version, but we knew that the race version would be coming shortly thereafter, and then we were able to get the car homologated and built enough street cars for the calendar year 2001. We had 2 S7s run in the American series and 2 in Europe. So we had the one group ran into the IMSA American Le Mans on this, and we had another group that ran a S7 in the Grand Am series, and then and both of them won the championship that year. And then in Europe, we were in the European Le Mans series and in the GT championship over there, and both of those won the championship. So our first year out of the box in the racing, I had all 4 not only won races, but they ended up winning the overall championships as well. And then from then on, it just kind of grew to where we were able to supply more race versions of the cars, and they kept doing better and better, all by privateer teams.
That's amazing. It's amazing that a privateer could keep up or be competitive. I mean, there's so much money with the factory teams that that really says a lot about the car, right?
Yeah.
If a privateer can take it and compete with a...
Yeah, it was especially sweet. We actually have our own... I know Ford has their Ford versus Ferrari. Well, we actually have our own Saleen versus Ferrari.
Really?
That we beat them on their home track in Imola.
Wow.
And that was much more, I would say, a David versus Goliath. And we can talk more about that.
Yeah, I wonder when the movie's coming out for that, huh?
Yeah.
You should push to have that. We need more car movies.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so what's the relationship with Ford? Do you guys have some deal worked out to where I'm assuming it's some kind of partnership, or do you just buy the cars outright and then make them yourself and then sell them?
We end up actually, first of all, we've been doing it for almost 43 years. So then I've gone through a whole different ways on how we obtain the cars in the base vehicles, and we have kind of a hybrid to where we use a little bit with Ford, and some of it we utilize with the Ford dealers. And in doing that hybrid, it gives us a lot more flexibility, a higher volume of getting cars when Ford's producing cars. So we're able to take advantage of that, but we get the base vehicle directly from the Flat Rock, Michigan, on the way of the Mustangs, and delivered to our facility, and then we do our changes on it and send them directly back to a Ford dealership, depending on which Ford dealer ordered it across the country.
Oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't know that's how that worked. And so now you guys are still doing it with your Mustangs. And then we're sitting here next to one of your S1s. Is this the first? Because you're still building these. Yeah. So the S7 you're still building.
We came out and we did a few of, when we first came out with it, we designed the S7 as a normally aspirated, but at the same time we knew that the European Ferrari would not stand still, so we incorporated to be able to, at a future date, add a couple extra turbos for the boost. So when we came out, 550 was King of the Hill in 1999, 2000, and that was all that we needed. And then in 2005, then Ferrari came out with the Enzo, and all we did then was just add a couple of extra turbos, and we boosted this up to 750 horsepower. And then towards the end of the main run, we had several that we were at 1,000 horsepower.
Wow.
Subsequently, then that was at the end of 2007 was the main run. And then we decided we won our category at Le Mans in 2010, and it really in 2015, 2016 we decided we would do another run of a few of the in honor of that victory. So we boost the horsepower up there, depending on if you're on pump gases around 1,200, and if you use E85 it'll be 1,500.
Wow.
And then as kind of a prelude for the stuff that we're going to be showing here, I have a extra S7 in the works that actually has a little bit more of the forward thinking here that you will see at the end of this calendar year, the first of next year here, as kind of a bridge as to our next endeavor.
And so we're sitting in 3 of 18. How many S7s total were made? Because I'm assuming this is not including the new ones.
Yeah, this actually was the first customer car that we actually delivered.
Okay.
And it has a very good history with it, and it's but it shows again how well the cars have been very durable and very drivable.
Yeah. Well, and I think they aged very nicely. I've sat in cars of the same era and they feel dated. Extremely dated. Obviously there's things about this that have little bit of dating, but it's a very pleasant looking interior, and the exterior, obviously everybody watching and listening have seen the exterior of an S7. They're timeless. But the interior, this is the first time I've been in one. I would say it's a very nice interior too.
Yeah, it is. It has aged very well.
Yeah.
We were the first to actually have. You press the button and this comes up on the screen. This is your rear view camera.
Oh.
1999, 2000. That was not. That was again us thinking a lot further ahead on what actually. Where we felt the future is. So I think we've made some pretty good calls on where we think future will be, and how all of that's been going about. But the gauges, I think, are timeless. We modeled the gauges after I had a Breitling watch, and we used a lot of the nuances as sort of our inspiration for some of the actual analog gauges.
So the new one you're building, you want to tell us a little bit about that, when it's coming out?
We will have it. I'm not sure at when we will have it unveiled on it, but it will be in the not too distant future. So I can tell you that will be on par. So we will be anxious, and we'll make sure you get a notice when we're unveiling that.
And that's more of a track oriented.
Nope. It's a street. Certainly, our cars are capable, or more than capable, on a track.
Yeah.
But no, it is a street version that we are doing.
Oh, that's super neat. And then, what would you say that would be kind of comparable to, for people that don't know anything about your car? What would you?
Well, it puts it into...
it's mid-engine, it's lightweight.
Again, you're talking, a lot of horsepower, depending on the fuel, from 1,200 to 1,500 horsepower in a car that weighs 2,800 pounds.
So what did I read something, and I thought it said it was 400 horsepower or 425 horsepower.
That's the S1s. The S1s are 450. The S1 is our entry level into the supercar genre, and that is an aluminum tub with a carbon body. That is our own engine again, our own design.
And is that a V8?
It's a 4-cylinder single turbo. It's a 2.2 liter that puts out 450 horsepower in a car that only weighs 2,600 pounds.
Wow.
So its power to weight ratio is not in the S7 category, but it's certainly in the supercar category.
Yeah. Yeah, and even though they're not super reliable, I've always been a British car guy because I like the lightweight. I like that driving experience of the British cars, which is why I have a Noble, right? And I've had Lotuses and I've tracked Lotuses. And so that car sounds appealing to me. Lightweight.
Yeah, you'll find this to outdo anything that Lotus or even your Noble, though I think you put a bigger engine in your Noble.
Yeah, so, but your modern technology. I'm still a 25-year-old car, 20-year-old car.
But and then we ran our own with the S1s. We ran our own race series where we had 20 of them competing around the country with both pro drivers and beginner drivers. That worked out really well, and then it's easy to win a race when all of them are Saleens. Right. But then after that, we ran a number of races where we won against every Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Audi, BMW, and all of that. So again, the capabilities of the S1 have already actually been documented and proven, and so much that I had a race a couple years ago up in Seattle that they maybe started at the back of the pack, but I ended up driving and winning a race there. So the capabilities of the cars have always been very
purpose-built.
Yeah, and very capable on all competition.
So how do you go about buying one of those?
We're in the finishing certification on that.
For the street ones. But what if you want a track one?
The track ones are available right now.
So you can go buy a track one.
You can actually go. It's $250,000 and it's more than capable. So if you have a track day on this and you want to show up with something really cool and really different and blow everyone's doors, that would be the ideal car for someone to actually get.
So now, in these cars, I know a lot of these companies. I mean, there's not Saleen dealerships that who works on this car. Let's say
we do. We actually pride on this is that right now we have a number of Ford dealers.
So they'll service.
Yeah, but they also are. What we're setting up is what we call the Saleen Showroom Gallery, and where we're doing this episode is up in Seattle here. So the Titus Will Ford is our Saleen Showroom Gallery, where we actually have our own mini showroom within their dealership on the Saleen vehicles. So
I didn't know that.
And qualified people to talk about our products and all of that. So we've done that. More recently, we opened up one in North Carolina a couple weeks ago at the Crossroads in Charlotte area, Indian Trail. And then we had a major promotion at another Crossroads up in Apex, North Carolina on this. And then this weekend, I'm in Daytona Beach at a big Mustang event, but our Cocoa Beach Ford is our latest Saleen Showroom Gallery dealer.
Oh, okay. So they can service all your cars.
Yeah, we have them around the country. So
because that's been a big complaint with some of these boutique type cars. If you buy a Koenigsegg, you can't just take it to a local dealership. Yeah. And I think that's why the Northwest doesn't have any of those type of cars, because nobody can work on them. Yeah. Where do you have your Pagani, your Bugatti, your Koenigsegg serviced in Seattle?
Yeah.
There's nobody. So it's neat that you're opening these little spots that people can feel confident that somebody that knows how to work on them can work on them.
Well, we've sold over 40,000 vehicles, so we're not new to this
No.
game of the. It's sort of like anyone can build an expensive one-off car,
Yeah.
but if you're going to do it repeatable, that requires a certain level of skill set. And then if you're going to have it to where you have service and after sales warranty and all the things that come with the obligation and the ownership of the vehicle, we certainly understand that equation as well.
Yeah. Yeah, super neat. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about the S7?
Well, other than where we're at.
Oh, yeah.
We want to talk about why we're here?
Yeah. Well, by the time the podcast airs, this will potentially be over, but we could definitely talk about it, what you're doing here, I think.
Well, this goes for a year. So
yeah.
Your podcast isn't going to be shown for another year?
This episode, it's probably a couple months out. We have a lot already we've filmed.
Okay, well, this will be very timely.
Yeah.
So we're here on location at the America's Car Museum, the LeMay Museum in Tacoma, which is obviously near Seattle.
Yeah.
And
they're been an amazing partner for our brand. They've been a huge supporter of us.
And what we're opening is a very unique exhibition. This is called The Birth of the American Supercar, Past, Present, and Future. It runs for a full year, and we will go show over 100 vehicles during that period of time of very unique. And we take you through a journey from the beginning of the 19th century with the Stutes Bearcat and the Mercer Raceabout as really, if you will, the beginnings of the American supercar.
Yeah.
Into the Duesenbergs and Pierce Arrows and the Cord and some of the racing and performance in the 20s and the 30s. Then when we get to the 40s, World War II pretty well interrupted a lot of the activities there, but a lot of things in America, our roots come from Europe. So when the World War II ended, the servicemen brought back a lot of the European sports cars. And that influence then started prevailing as we got into the early 50s, when the hot rod movement was, if you will, kind of the forerunner of American supercars, where you could take a 32 Ford and make it your own in every aspect. And then going beyond that, then as Chevrolet came out with in 1952 with the Chevrolet Corvette, and that really, I think, started the genesis. And then as we moved into the late 50s with the Cunningham, which we'll have on display here for, again, a lot of the, probably your viewers don't really know all the history of how all of this goes, but I will say it is really interesting, and even on how come the colors and the stripings that influence us today, the genesis for when that began. And then we get into the 60s. In the 60s, that was when things really boomed. And that's when Shelby came out with the Cobra. You had the Daytona Coupe. Ford had the GT40. Both the
which I'm wearing that shirt right now.
And you have the appropriate shirt.
There you go.
So we have a nice display that'll be rotating with the different vehicles that we have. We do have, a lot of people haven't seen, is the Mark IV, the one that Dan Gurney and AJ Foyt.
Which is one of my favorite. AJ Foyt's a great guy too.
Then as we move into it, then from the 60s we go into the 70s. 70s were not a very, what do I want to say? Well, as we say up here, the 70s kind of sucked.
Yeah, the emissions really cracked down on a lot of the automotive industry too.
You had three things happen at the same time because of clean air. One is we went from leaded to unleaded gas. Second is that we had the tailpipe emissions. The CAFE rating came in, and then we went to have to put on a little device that was called a catalytic converter. Those did not help anything, and then on top of that, we had gas shortage. So if you had an odd plate or an even plate, you could go get gas.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And then the price of gas with the second shortage spiked the gas. So the 70s were not the best for performance driving at the best. But we do have Ford prevailed, and we do have the Pantera, was still, if you will, the performance car. Then as we get
Which
into...
I love the Pantera.
Yeah.
I've had a few of them.
Yeah, that's what I understand. Yeah. And then as we get into the 80s, things started to pick up on this, and that's where we were able to look at some of the cool cars in the 80s and 90s. Obviously, that's when I came out in 84 with the Saleen Mustang. So we were kind of at the forefront of this resurgence in performance. But you also had the Dodge Viper. You also had the Vector, which we will have a Vector if you're familiar with that car.
Yeah.
And then we also have on display the Aerotech, that Oldsmobile that A.J. Foyt drove in the late 80s, early 90s on this. Again, these are American supercars that really started to define the...
Well, and that one A.J. Foyt was driving, I would say, is more of a hypercar. I mean, that's a pretty crazy car.
Yeah, it is. And the way that we're defining it, we're putting all these cars under the supercar umbrella, with the hypercars being the most extreme.
Right.
And
which I would argue this is a hypercar.
Yeah.
For its era. I mean, I don't think hypercar technically, the term didn't come out
as a
yet.
technical, again, we're putting them all under the supercar umbrella, with the hypercar being, if you will, the segment of the supercars that are the most extreme, both in performance, outlandish aerodynamics, and everything else that you would have.
Right.
But as a generality, I would put them all under the supercar category, as at least as the exhibition that we're doing define. Then we come into today's car. We have obviously the Ford GT,
which is my ultimate favorite dream car. The 0506.
And I don't know if you're familiar with our involvement with that.
I'm not.
You? So we did the engineering, and we built all of those as private label for Ford.
Really? I did
A lot
not
of people
know
do not know that. That was the chief engineer that worked under John Coletti on that, was a Saleen employee, Neil Hanneman, on doing all of the final design for it. And then I set up a manufacturing plant in Detroit, Michigan, actually Troy, Michigan, and we manufactured, painted them, and delivered them all to the Ford dealers, all as private label. And
I didn't know that.
So that whole run, we were very instrumental in participating with Ford in that development and all of that. And then after that, a lot of people don't know, is that we picked up the painting and assembly for the Dodge Viper. I did that out of the plant as well. But we have one of those on display. We have the new Ford GT that Multimatic builds up in Canada. On that, we do have that one, and that rotates in a different one. And then we bring in, if you will, kind of the boutique on this. We currently are starting with a Zinger. So we have the latest model of a Zinger. But we also have plans that shortly we will have one of the Tataras SSC as well, and as a Hennessy F5 will be part of that, and then a few other surprises. We also are classifying the current iterations of all of the different C8 Corvettes are in the supercar category, as well as the new Mustang Ford GTD, which we will have on display. And then as we move through that, we get into a little bit of the Saleen with the S7 and the S1. And then by the time you see this, we're unveiling a brand new supercar called the S11.
Oh, wow.
And you will actually, by the time this broadcast, you will see this. But it's a little different, is that we're starting with a clay model that we will be finalizing the touch for people to actually vote, if like what we're calling the American Idol, spelled IDLE on this, but You will actually have, for the course of the year, be able to say, do I like this headlight treatment? Do I like this taillight treatment? Do I like this sculpturing, both the interior and as we develop the car through the year, the powertrain, the drivetrain, and some very unique features will be unveiled as we complete this project over the next year, all under the time while it's here in the LeMay Museum.
Wow. I didn't know all that.
So
I appreciate you sharing
So
that.
and when we're done here, I will show you a couple of the pictures here on this, and the clay buck will be on display here with all of its changes, real time.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you chatting with us.
So that's a very unique opportunity, and I certainly would invite everyone to come up sometime during the course of this next year, plan a trip to Seattle. It's a wonderful city. Come down to Tacoma to the LeMay Museum, and you will learn everything you want to know about the American Supercars journey into the future.
And so just a quick walkthrough for me, I haven't really had a chance to look at all the cars, but this, of the walkthrough I've done, this has been my favorite display that I've seen here. Because I am very much like an American car guy. And I know my brand doesn't say that, but I mean, literally my favorite is the Ford GT. I have a Shelby Daytona recreation from Factory 5. Yeah. I've had multiple Panteras because it's got the Ford motor in it. That's why I bought my Noble, because it has a Ford motor in it. So I do love the
the American side
of it. I'm a very much American guy.
And that's where I think a lot of people will appreciate what has happened, because it has always been kind of the European side of it that gets, if you will, the headlines on this. But we certainly are trying to bring the American side of it up to the forefront here, that basically whatever Europe can do, we can do better.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you
for
very much.
having me.
Yeah, definitely.
Bye.